Podcast City Network.
Hey guys, and welcome to another exciting episode of Final Score, episode 119. Sadly, I am solo tonight. Ivan was unable to join us this evening. I'm also a little under the weather, so if you see me being sniffly, I apologize in advance. It's a little gross, and I get it. So, we got a great show packed for tonight, but you got to make sure to follow us on social media at PCN Final Score on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and Instagram. Go on there, hit the like, follow, and subscribe buttons. That way you can get the latest and greatest from Final Score. And if you could help us out, just hit the reaction and the share buttons here in the corners of this live episode. That way you can help us get Final Score to even more people. It just helps us. You help me help you. Help me help you. Oh, man, good stuff. But we are going to talk a lot of college football tonight. A lot of great stuff. We're going to go over our preseason top 10 and our Heisman candidates. It's going to be some really great stuff. Final Score preseason top 10 does start with Alabama. Alabama, a big team coming into this year. The preseason AP #1 team, receiving most of the first place votes. And Alabama looks loaded yet again, bringing in 7 5-star recruits. And of course, Bryce Young, who's the former top-ranked quarterback prospect and #2 overall recruit in the class of 2020, who's going to figure not only to be the starting quarterback, but to possibly mix it in for the Heisman. Brian Robinson Jr. stepping in at running back after being with the program for 4 years. And Alabama brings back a stout defense. It's going to be really hard to count out the Crimson Tide at any point this season. But our #2 team, Oklahoma Sooners, are being led by Spencer Rattler, who will be returning and also hoping for a Heisman run himself. Threw for a 67.5% completion percentage for 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 7 picks in 2020, and figures to build on that even more. But one team a lot of people are looking at, especially with the departure of Trevor Lawrence, is our #3 team, Clemson, who will now be led by DJ Uiagalelei. Say that 5 times fast. Who only starting experience he's had was against Notre Dame and a couple other games while Trevor Lawrence was out with COVID. Will Shipley, though, will come in at running back, who's a very heralded freshman and was a 2,000-yard rusher in high school. Really great player and figures to have a huge, huge impact on this team. At #4, we have Ohio State, who'll be bringing in C.J. Stroud to be their starting quarterback, and also a plethora of 5-star recruits who will come in for the Buckeyes. Buckeyes trying to reload, but not looking as strong as I thought they would coming into this season. But with how the Big Ten is set up, they're more than likely still going to be the favorites to win that conference. So definitely keep an eye out for the Buckeyes this season. #5, we have Georgia, who brings in quarterback JT Daniels, who will be starting for the Bulldogs. But Georgia also had a top 5 recruiting class, reloading at a number of positions. So definitely figured that the Bulldogs are going to be a huge threat. And let's not forget that Clemson and Georgia will be playing each other early on this season, I believe just next week. So definitely make sure to keep an eye out for that game. It's going to be one of the biggest games of the season. At #6, we have Texas A&M, who named Haynes King their starting quarterback to succeed 4-year starter Kellen Mond. And shout out to Forrest Nystrom saying he's just here so you don't get fined. Great stuff. And Jimmy saying, chat got a co-host. Let's go. Come on, chat. Bring it on in. Gonna need you today. But Texas A&M will bring in Haynes King to be that starter to replace Kellen Mond, and also had a top 10 defense in 2020. So Texas A&M figures to be a huge force in the SEC if they can make it past Alabama. At #7 is my one and only Notre Dame Fighting Irish, who will be starting Wisconsin transfer quarterback Jack Cohen. And yes, Forrest, we do shout outs here. Tons of them. Who will be starting Jack Cohen, who ended up beating out Tyler Buckner for the starting position. Also returning Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree at running back. And it's going to be an interesting season for the Irish, who have to reload a number of positions just because of the amount of talent they lost to the NFL draft, like a number of these teams did. But Notre Dame figures to come in with great experience and hope to try and have a great season. They open up against FSU next Sunday. Number 8, we have the Cincinnati Bearcats, who will be returning Desmond Ridler at quarterback, who guided the team to a Peach Bowl appearance last season. And let's not forget, Cincinnati had a top 15 defense coming in at number 13 in 2020. So Cincinnati returns a lot of that defense. So it's going to be a great year, I think, for Cincinnati. Have tough games, though, against teams like Notre Dame. So they're definitely going to have to make sure they bring their A game if they want to be able to not only stay in the top 10, but possibly vie for a playoff position. At number 9, Iowa State, the Cyclones, who bring back Brock Purdy. And let's not forget Iowa State, who also may have lost the Big 12 championship to Oklahoma last season, 27-21. Oh, my God. They do return a lot of their starters and do figure to vie for a Big 12 title yet again this season. Forrest Nystrom saying, hot take, Milton is taking FSU to the Natty. They got to get by Notre Dame first, so have fun with that one. And then you still got to deal with Clemson and have fun with that one. But coming in at number 10, we have North Carolina, who bring back Sam Howell as their quarterback. And North Carolina getting a big boon from Mac Brown in recruiting, bringing in the number 14 recruiting class in 2021. So it figures to definitely be a good year for them if they can get by the likes of Clemson and all the other ACC teams. So definitely going to be very interesting. That is our preseason top 10, though. So definitely make sure to check back, as this will be updated regularly, as we're going to start bringing you the college football top 10 every week. That way you can see who we think's doing good, who we think's going to eventually make the college football playoff. Oh, yeah, I know, Jimmy. A lot of stuff getting crazy last season before stuff does get crazy with the alliance, the money, restructuring the postseason. Some of these establishment teams better push this year. You're not lying at all. And they're going to have to push hard if they want to be able to stay not only relevant in these races, especially for some of these smaller schools like Cincinnati at number 8 or Iowa State at number 9 aren't known as classic powerhouses. So a lot of these teams are really going to have to push hard. So it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of that shakes out. But moving on to our Heisman candidates, we're going to bring you our top Heisman candidates, our top 3, I should say, Heisman candidates for this season. Starting first with Oklahoma quarterback Spencer Rattler. Had a great season last season and definitely figures to try and come in for a loaded Oklahoma team who's going to be trying to make a push for the national championship this year on the arm of Spencer Rattler. So definitely figures to be a good year for him. Our second one, Alabama quarterback Bryce Young. Yes, that's right. The freshman himself coming in to Alabama, but this Alabama offense always reloads itself, and Bryce Young will have a lot of great talent around him. So it'll be his battle to lose if he can't capitalize on what he does have around him. So it's going to be very interesting. And also our third Heisman candidate, Clemson quarterback DJ Uiagalelei. And it didn't take me that long to master this name, even though we'll probably end up with another names quiz at some point to try and throw me off. But Uiagalelei is one I can remember. Great player, played great against a very good defense when he started against Notre Dame last season. Now has been able to maturate and be named the starter. I think a lot of good things are going to come from him in the coming years. So definitely keep an eye out. If not this year, maybe next year. This guy I think could win a Heisman. So definitely keep an eye out on him. But that is our college football preview. Definitely make sure, like I said, to check back every week. And yes, I know, Jimmy, they're all quarterbacks. It's a quarterback dominant award nowadays. Really hard if you're not a quarterback to win that award, unless you end up having just the most bomb of seasons as a running back. So usually don't see a lot of running backs on these preseason lists anymore. Usually it's just quarterbacks. But definitely make sure to check back with us next week as we'll bring you our updated top 10 after we see some of these games actually play out and maybe updated Heisman odds. We'll see what we got. But definitely be talking a lot more college football from here on, and just loving it that we finally have college football again. It is so beautiful. all the way around. But you know what else is beautiful is all the great content platforms that you can find Final Score on, including Podbean, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Bullhorn, Player FM, Listen Notes, Spotify, Castbox, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Amazon Music. You can find us on all of those platforms, as well as for our video portions on YouTube. But you can also check everything out on our hub at podcastcity.net/Final Score. So definitely make sure to go on there and check that out. Smash those like, follow, and subscribe buttons. That way you get notified when we drop a new episode. But it's now time for our T-shirt giveaway, and this is going to be a good one. It's going to be a trivia T-shirt giveaway. So to be able to win, you must answer the trivia question correctly in the chat. The first person to answer correctly wins a new Final Score T-shirt in the color of their choice. As you can see, the colors up there. So definitely go ahead and start picking them out, because we're about to post the question of the evening, which is, who is the only college football team to win a wire-to-wire national championship? And if you get the year in there too, man, go you. So definitely post that up in the chat if you know the answer. Who is the only college football team to win a wire-to-wire national championship? So definitely make sure to get that up there. And once we have a winner, we'll announce it here live on air, and we'll get with you after the show to get your information so we can send it out to you. But one more time, who is the only college football team to win a wire-to-wire national championship? But you can also, if you don't win yourself a free T-shirt, get it over at the Podcast City Network shop. And they got a lot of great stuff going on over there, because at the PCN shop, they have what you need. Whether it's a neck gaiter to protect you from COVID-19, a mug for your morning coffee, or a T-shirt just to look cool, they got you covered. Get the latest apparel and gear for your favorite podcast and Podcast City Network by visiting podcastcity.net/shop and checking out the lineup. Ooh, man, the throat's getting all dried out. This is getting crazy. Definitely going to be a good show. But we do have some more college football news with the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12 officially announcing their alliance to stabilize the current environment in college athletics. And this came pretty quickly after last week when we announced that this was possibly in the works. And this will eventually bring on a lot of different aspects, but still parts of it are very, very fluid. But they're going to be collaborating on weighty issues facing the industry and agreeing to create a future scheduling partnership. The scheduling component for football and women's and men's basketball will begin, quote, as soon as practical while honoring current contractual obligations, end quote. But the decision makers involved said the alliance was not driven by revenue. Well, I think this is more driven by revenue than anything, because all of you are trying to save your conference and trying to keep your current contracts and make money. So tell me this isn't a revenue move. I would dare somebody in the chat to try and challenge me. Please give me something to talk about. And while there is no contractual agreement, funny enough, between the three leagues as far as it relates to the alliance, and nothing in writing that prevents them from poaching each other's teams, the message conveyed Tuesday was that the creation of the partnership lessens any incentive for that type of action, which I also doubt, because, excuse me, while there is an alliance that won't keep teams from going about their own plans, the Pac-12 announcing recently that they weren't right now going to expand, but that they were still exploring those options. As we look at it, though, this is only between the Big Ten, ACC, and Pac-12, so any number of things could still happen. The Big 12 right now is looking like it is dissolving at the fastest of rates. The SEC is looking to become a 16-team super conference. These conferences are going to have to do what they got to do, and I have a feeling it's going to end up being a poaching of the Big 12, followed by poaching of some smaller conferences with talented teams. So you'll probably end up seeing UCF in a big conference. You'll probably see Boise State end up in a big conference. It's just a matter of time, honestly, just because this is the changing landscape of college football now. So while this is all nice and well intended, I don't see this really lasting. Sure, they might get the scheduling aspect of it down eventually, but realistically, I think that the grand scheme of things is going to end up changing a lot faster than people think. So it's going to be interesting all the way around, and I'm really interested to see if these conferences are going to try and stick to what they say, or if this is all just going to end up going out the window. So definitely see what we get excuse me, as we move forward. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. Still under the weather. Been sick for about 2-3 days now. So just had to make sure the show went on, though. So here we are. Excuse me. But with that news, it means it's time to talk about Podcast City Network, because Final Score is a proud member of Podcast City Network. Podcast City Network has 20 independent podcast members across all genres of podcasting. And you can find Podcast City Network on all major social media platforms, including Facebook at facebook.com/Podcast City Network, on Twitter and Instagram at Podcast City Net, on YouTube by searching Podcast City Network, and on the website, podcastcity.net. And Yuri, to answer your question, I am hanging in there by a thread. I have a horrible, horrible cold, and I've been working through it. But here we are, making it happen. But we are always looking for interested podcast hosts and content creators to join the network, but we understand that may not be what you're looking for right now. You may just need a new logo, an intro, outro video, music for your show, live stream hosting, voiceover work, or just some one-on-one consulting. No matter the need, we have you covered. Just go to podcastcity.net/services and fill out the contact form for an estimate so we can help you reach your podcasting goals. Be creative, be independent, be yourself. Podcast City Network. But that does bring us to our next topic, talking about the NFL Hall of Fame, which is now including late Raiders wide receiver Cliff Branch and former coach Dick Vermeil, who were named finalists now for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Great honors for both of those men, and much, much well-deserved. Hopefully they will make it through, and we will find out more info on this as the year wears on, as they go through an entire voting process to be able to elect who actually gets into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So with these two names, I think they will definitely be shoo-ins. So definitely make sure to check back, though, as we'll have a lot more on this and the Hall of Fame as it gets closer again. But that does bring us to City Limits Tap Room. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to go check them out at 2620 North Woodland Boulevard in beautiful D-Land, Florida. And with all the great stuff they have going on, they actually are moving buildings right now. So this address will change here in the near future, but they still feature a lot of these same specials that they have every day, including Monday with all-day $6 wing baskets and $5 pictures of Yingling, Landshark, and Busch Light. Tuesdays, guys night with half off all wells and drafts from 7 p.m. to close. Wednesdays, all day $5 pitchers of the posted beer from 2 p.m. to close, and $2 seltzers at the outside bar. And Thursdays, ladies night with $1 wines, wells, and drafts from 7 p.m. to close. Fridays, karaoke with Al from 7 p.m. to close. And Sundays, $13 domestic buckets and $16 import and craft buckets all day long. So definitely make sure to check out City Limits Tap Room in beautiful D-Land, Florida. Dick Vermeil is already first ballot in the Funny Name Hall of Fame. Yes, Yuri, he most definitely is. And shout out to Harry for joining us. Thank you so much for stopping by to check out the show. Really appreciate it. And if you guys missed the trivia question, we can go ahead and throw that out there one more time. Who is the only college football team to win a wire-to-wire national championship? You get that answer in the chat, you'll be able to win yourself a free Final Score t-shirt. So definitely make sure to check that out and get that in there. Oh my goodness, this cold is beating my ass, and it is not fun in any way, shape, or form. But that does bring us to the good old meme madness, and definitely got some funny ones curated for today. Starting first with some good facts, because Larry Fitzgerald has more career tackles than he does actual passes dropped. Pretty crazy, I know. Pretty crazy to think that. But our next one is for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He says, we're going 1-16. I don't know. Trevor Lawrence actually looked pretty good out there today, throwing 2 touchdown passes and only had 1 incompletion. So not too bad for him today. We'll see if he's able to carry that over into the actual season, though. Looking at our next one, this is me at work versus me drafting my fantasy team. Totally accurate. And Doug yelling out Ohio State Buckeyes. I don't know about that. We'll see. And Yuri, flu game, but for podcasting. You ain't lying. We bringing it, man. We bringing it. And Jimmy saying Jags might get 6. I could see 6. I think the top out's probably like between 6 and 8, and that's if he's playing stellar. But who knows? We'll see once we actually get there, which is very, very soon. And Yuri saying, fun fact, the 2008 Lions went 4-0 in the preseason. That they did. How'd that work out for them? Just like Bears fans who heard Andy Dalton is our week 1 starter, Allen Robinson being like, oh, too good. Too good. Oh, man. But bring it on to our next meme. Oop, there we go. Got to get it fixed there. You got a button that says bust and a button that says wait a few years to decide. This is NFL fans when a rookie has one bad preseason game. Oh, man, definitely a good one. Definitely a good one. We're bringing up our next one. Mitch Trubisky watching Andy Dalton play. They replaced me with this guy? And our last meme of the evening is Derrick Henry is the only human being to ever walk the earth that rushed for 2,000 yards in high school, 2,000 yards in college football, and 2,000 yards in an NFL season. True story. That is how beast this guy is. The next person that could truly challenge it would probably be Will Shipley at Clemson, who had a 2,000-yard high school season. So who knows? Maybe we'll see another reenactment. Who knows? But that is the end of our meme madness. We thank you guys so much for watching the good old meme madness. But that does bring us back to Podcast City Network and all the great things that you can do with Podcast City Network. Because have you always wanted to start a podcast but didn't know how? Do you have a podcast but don't know how to grow it? Are you trying to find ways to make your podcast profitable? You can learn to do it here at Podcast City Network. We offer consulting services and tutorial classes to help with learning to better expand your knowledge and to grow your show. We also give access to our network of shows to help with cross-promotion, guests, and overall reach, while also becoming a part of our ever-expanding PCN community based on people helping people. The best part is no membership fee. So what are you waiting for? Go to podcastcity.net/join now and join the fastest growing independent podcast network around, Podcast City Network. And yes, Doug, I am going to make it through slowly but surely. We are almost there because now we are at the good old give or go. And we got 3 good ones for tonight. First one being at the city of Glendale. The city of Glendale is terminating the Arizona Coyotes Gila River Arena lease after the 2021-2022 season, which leaves a lot of things up in the air. And, I see we finally got an answer. Jimmy saying FSU. Yes, that is correct. In 1999, Florida State went wire to wire to become the only wire-to-wire national champion in college football history. Jimmy, you are the man, and you're getting yourself another Final Score t-shirt, sir. So definitely going to be good stuff. We'll get with you after the show, figure out which color you want this time, and we'll get that out to you. But with this could leave the Arizona Coyotes in a lot of, uncharted territory, and could leave them where they're having to relocate possibly. So, of course, the owner's saying that they really want to try and work something out with having another arena built possibly, or trying to find somewhere to play in the meantime until they can get something figured out. But we'll definitely have more on this as it develops, because this is kind of breaking from the city of Glendale to do this. So we'll definitely have a lot more when we get to it. But the Jaguars also officially named Trevor Lawrence their starting quarterback and traded Gardner Minshew to the Philadelphia Eagles. So he went from vying for a starting position to being third on the depth chart behind Joe Flacco and Jalen Hurts. So definitely not looking too good for him right now. But Trevor Lawrence coming in and being the starter, which was something I think everybody pretty much expected. No shock here. We're definitely going to go on this. But our next one, L.A. Rams acquire running back Sony Michel from the New England Patriots. Rams needing running backs at this point. Getting Sony Michel, definitely not too surprised by this, but there's other running backs also available in free agency, including Todd Gurley. I guess the Rams just didn't want to do a reunion there, so ended up vying to try and get Sony Michel. So we'll see how that one works out for the Rams. But that was the good old give or go. And we thank you guys so much for joining us for it, which then brings us to PodChaser, because Apple Podcasts is no longer the only credible source for podcast discovery. And you can follow creators, browse every podcast ever, and rate and review episodes. Just go to podchaser.com and search keyword final score, one word, and follow, rate, and review us. And Jimmy saying, stadium woes, a Raiders fan can understand. Yeah, you of all people definitely understand. But you guys got, like you said, it's all better now because you got that awesome Allegiant Stadium. So definitely hang your hat on that one, my friend. But that does bring us to the week ahead, and we finally get real football back. NFL week 1 starting, as well as the true week 1 for college football. Yes, we had week 0 this week, but week 1 next week is where all the real action happens and all the teams really start playing. So finally, guys, football is back. Finally. So definitely relish in that and enjoy it as much as you can. But also check out all the great Podcast City Network sports shows that we have, including Not a Hockey Market Podcast, the Nest Podcast, the Rip Griffin Show, and Fixed Edge, as well as a new show that will be debuting here soon on Podcast City Network. So check out that one, or we'll have that announcement once we make the debut. So definitely make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that one. But Fixed Edge will also be going live this Wednesday at 9 p.m., so definitely make sure to check that out. And thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure to join us back next week for episode 120 of Final Scores. We'll have a lot more football news going on. And thank you, Jimmy. Try to make it through this one. And once we get to next week, we'll be able to have the week 1 episode without me being sick and actually having a co-host. So thank you guys so much for joining us this evening and spending your time with me. But until next time, I'm Chris. Oh, yeah. And Chris. And you guys just watch Final Score. Y'all have a great night.
Podcast City Network.